Every person in this room has the perfect motive.
Stand back!
For murder.
What do you mean? Murder.
But only one of these suspects is the murderer.
We are Team Penguin Mafia, and we'd like to welcome you to our game of Clueless. It's a lot like the real game of Clue, except for with a lot less. We have 5 people in our team: John Lewis, Trevor Lai, Nick Maludi, Nick Sparakis, and Jeremy LaFleur.
And we'll start off by running through the launching of the clients and the servers, and then we'll run through a 2-player game where we show all the operational rules and moves you can make in the game, show everything works correctly, and we'll conclude by running a 6-person game that allows us to show that it's expandable up to 6 players. So let's get started. Alright, so we'll begin the game by hitting the connect button on each client. This is going to allow us to pick our players. And for client 1, we're going to do Professor Plum, and client 2, we will go with Miss Scarlet. So we've selected our characters, and our game pieces have populated outside the respective hallways, so we're good now that we picked our players to start the game, and we'll just hit the start button.
I notice also that all the suspects, weapons, and rooms are all located inside of the notebook. They'll get crossed out once all cards get passed out once we start the game, for whichever client has the specific cards.
Alright, so we've begun the game, and you can see the rest of the game pieces have populated, but they'll remain inactive since there's nobody playing them. As Miss Scarlet goes first in the game, client 2 will get to go first. We'll move Miss Scarlet into hallway 1 to move her onto the board, and we'll move Professor Plum into hallway 2.
Notice that inside of the notebook, all the ones were crossed out for each of or when the client got its cards assigned to it when the game was started.
And for our next move, we're going to move Miss Scarlet into the library. And here we're going to make an a suggestion which will be disprovable by client 1 to show that capability. So we will select Mr. Green.
Due to the fact that Mr. Green is already one of the cards that we know that client 1 has.
With the knife, which is another card that they have. And we're stuck with the library since we're in the library, so we'll do that. So we'll hit Submit Suggestion. Client 2 will get this and be able to disprove, since they have Mr. Green and the knife. They can pick either one, but they only have to pick one, as the rule states you only need to disprove one. So we'll go ahead and disprove the knife. And we'll get confirmation back on client 2 showing that the knife was disproven. And we can either make an accusation or pass, but we're going to pass for the moment.
And notice you can make an accusation during any point in your turn just by clicking this Make Accusation button at the top.
Okay, and now we're back to client 1, which is Professor Plum, and we're going to move Professor Plum to the study. Okay, in here, this time we're going to show that if they make a suggestion which the other player has no cards for, that they can't make any disprovals, that they'll just have to pass. So we'll go ahead and pick
Scarlet.
Let's pick Miss Scarlet with the revolver.
And we'll have to do the study due to the fact that it's the only one, right?
Okay, and we'll see over on client 2 that they have no cards, everything is grayed out as they have no way to disprove anything, therefore they must pass.
So the pass will actually bring you to, if there was more than two clients in this game currently, it would pass to client 3 and then client 4 and so far until one person can disprove one item. So in this case we'll just pass because we only have 2 clients going. So this will end the turn, showing that no items were disproved.
Okay, and we'll go ahead and hit the pass button there.
So
now we're
Professor Plum was brought into the study, or Miss Scarlet was brought into the study by Professor Plum. So due to that, they have the ability to now make a suggestion before they start or as their turn, or they can decline the suggestion and move.
So we're going to go ahead and decline the suggestion, and we're going to move into hallway 0. Okay, now we're back to Professor Plum, and we're going to note here that because Miss Scarlet's in hallway 0, Professor Plum is not able to move into that adjacent hallway, as only one player is allowed in the hallway at one time. So we'll take advantage of this to make use of the secret passageway to the kitchen and move ourselves across the board.
This is a good time to point out that as part of the actual move GUI right here, you can tell that it's set up exactly how the main GUI is set up. So the study is on the top left side, kitchen's in the bottom right, and everything is in a corner spot of how you'd see it on the actual GUI. But we'll go ahead and move to the kitchen now.
And just to reiterate one of the rules here, we're going to show that if you make an accusation of player, that player is summoned to your room. So we'll go ahead and accuse Miss Scarlet with the wrench in the kitchen. And you'll see that Miss Scarlet moves from hallway 0 into the kitchen.
And once again, she has the ability to now, when to start her turn, to make a suggestion or to pass on that and make her move.
So we'll go ahead and make an accusation actually at this point. We'll go ahead and exit out.
So let's go ahead and just go straight to accusation, changes the screen to the accusation. And you can tell based on the fact that we see both clients right now, you can tell from both notebooks what the actual case file will show. So you can see that Mr. Green, Mrs. White are both crossed out here. Colonel Mustard is over here. Miss Scarlet's the only one that does not get crossed out, so we know that the answer is at least Miss Scarlet. And then for the weapons, if you look there, the revolver is the only one that is not crossed out either. And then we go down further into the rooms, and it looks like the study is not. But we're going to go ahead and make a false accusation to show that once the accusation is made false, the client can no longer move as part of the game and will only have the ability to disprove any of the suggestions by the other player. So we're going to do lounge since we know that's incorrect. So it has declined now the accusation. So now only client 1 has the ability to continue moving. So we're going to go ahead and move him to hallway 11. And you can see that it's now his turn once again because it passed over client 2, because client 2 is now out of the game. They can only disprove. So we're going to show an example that they can still disprove. So we're going to move them back into the kitchen, or we'll move into the ballroom. So we'll submit that, and then now we'll have we'll go Miss Scarlet. Oh no, Professor Plum, because they'll still have the ability to disprove Professor Plum. And we'll just go wrench and ballroom. Submit suggestion. So they still have the ability to disprove. So we'll go ahead and just do the wrench to disprove. And
at this point, we'll just go ahead and make the accusation to show the successful completion of the event.
So it's Miss Scarlet, and then revolver. And study, the study. So submit accusation, which shows that client 1 has successfully won the game and client 2 has lost.
So next we're going to demonstrate that we can have all 6 clients open and operate at the same time. We're not going to play a full game here, but we're going to connect and show that everything still functions in the same manner as we showed in the 2-player game. So we'll just go through and for each client, connect and select a character.
You can see that they're all populating their known places on the map due to the requirements.
Alright, now we'll go ahead and start the game. And we'll start with Miss Scarlet. As always, she's number 1. And we'll just move everybody onto the board.
So now it's Miss Scarlet's turn. We're going to bring her into the... We'll go into the library. And we'll just make this... We'll bring Mrs. White there. We'll just stick with herself. Miss Scarlet, revolver, library. Submit suggestion. So that it goes to the next player's client number 5, since this was client number 4. We'll go into client number 5 to disprove. We'll disprove that's a library. Now Now we'll end Miss Scarlet's turn, realizing that she does have the library. The library is now will be checked off inside of her notebook. And we'll have next client, client number 5, go into lounge, submit, and we'll go ahead and just do Miss Peacock with a lead pipe in the lounge. Submit suggestion. Client 5 has made a suggestion, and we can see that client number 6 does not have any of those cards, so we'll go ahead and pass, which brings you to client number 1, which is the next person in line, who does not have any of those cards either, so they're going to pass, which brings you to client number 2, who does have Miss Peacock, who will disprove that. And that ends client number 5's turn, showing that she does have Miss Peacock now. And we're going to go ahead and just make an accusation and just go Scarlet Lead Pipe Lounge. Or we'll try again. And that was an incorrect accusation, so now client 5 is out of the game. So that's going to conclude our demo with 6 clients operating at the same time. Penguin Mafia would like to thank our professors for providing an amazing class for us this semester. We learned a lot from it, and we'll be taking this information and go forward to be better engineers. And we'd also like to thank YouTube for providing audio and video clips for this video. Thank you.